Oh, that's completed the work with the 1200 stone. That didn't take too long. Looks like the extra time spent on the 400 paid off. You can see this is now, I've got a light, this is now more polished, this edge here. I'm going to go for a mirror finish if I can. Partly because that's what's going to be needed for a razor edge, but also because if this is mirrored, then it becomes a very low friction surface. Not really applicable to this kind of knife at all, but I just want to find out how far I can take this. So yeah, so the next job, put my light off. The next job, I'm going to go over to Waterstone. I'm going to go over to 6000 grit Japanese Waterstone. I haven't used this one before. This is new, but it's a cheap one. I'm not going to risk any of the more expensive stones. Probably isn't flat. They tend not to be flat when you first get them. So I'm going to have to flatten it. So I'll demonstrate that in a moment. I'll just wet it first of all, soak it in some water for a few minutes. Okay, well, I've put the 6000 Waterstone onto the into this holder. I've put it on a glass plate because it makes a mess. I want to get abrasive on the surface. I'm now going to see if it's flat. I've got a pencil. I want to put some scribble all over the stone. I'm going to use this 1200 plate, which should be quite flat. I'm going to move it over. Now really you're supposed to take the stone to the plate, but I'm not too bothered with this stone. And assuming this diamond plate is flat, you can see that it's only removed some of the scribble. So this stone is not flat. They're usually not quite flat when you first buy them, and you almost always have to flatten them. Plus they can warp as they dry out. Put a bit more water on there. So it's a good idea to flatten water stones regularly. Oh, yeah, I think this is getting flat now, getting suction. Anyway, I'll continue with this until it's completely flat. Okay, well the stone is definitely flat now, and you can see it's completely flat. It's made this nice paste. Rubbing the diamond plate has made a nice paste on the surface. That actually helps with the cutting process. There's a stone you can use, a small dressing stone, I think called a Nyagura stone, which I sometimes use, but I don't need to in this case because there's a nice slurry already formed. So I don't really know how much pressure to use here, very little. I've not used a blade of this weight on a 6000 stone before. Normally a blade of this size and weight you wouldn't need to use it on a 6000, but this is an experiment. I'm a bit nervous that once I start it's going to carve into the stone, which is why I've used one of the cheap ones. Yeah, there's enough water on there. So again, continuous angle, steady angle all the way across, and I'm going to polish this surface and also refine the edge. So hopefully it'll be a lot better when this is finished. Shouldn't take too long, or at least I'm hoping not. There's a nice burr. I got a burr on one side and then on the other again. So yeah, this shouldn't take too long, hopefully. I want to get rid of all these scratches as well. You probably can't see those, but maybe if I put the light on. There is scratching on the surface from the 1200. There shouldn't be very many visible scratches once I've finished on the 6000, so I'm going to proceed with that. So I'll just give it a try now and see. Oh yeah, I think this will be fine. Yeah, not too much pressure of course on the 6000 stone, especially not with a blade of this weight. This is going to take some time though, even now, so yeah, I'll report the findings once this is complete. Okay, well, that's work with the 6,000 stone just about completed. Had to flatten the stone 3 times. No way that's because it's a cheap stone. I think it's because this blade is so hard. And here it is. You can see it's now got rust on because you have to wash the blade. You have to wash all the slurry off the blade repeatedly when you're using a water stone. Still got a burr on it, but that's alright. And you can see it looks rusty, but the edge doesn't have too much corrosion on. So I think I'm going to get some metal polish on this before, well, either the second to last phase or the final phase, which is ridiculous for this, but I think I want to take it as far as it will go. So I'm going to use 10,000 grit water stone. Hope it doesn't abrade as much as that 6,000, because the 10,000 is an expensive stone. That's a cheap one, not 6,000. So yeah, I'm going to polish this rust off. It still looks alright though. I mean, it looks better than the paint job even with the rust on it. Signature's still here. See the signature. So yeah, polish, and then tomorrow I think 10,000 stone.